Kumlan Ablat Gemara. Today's daf is daf Tezvav. This is the second day Yom Tov. We're up to the Mishnah. So we learned now the different people who are Yarsha. Now the Mishnah telling us the hierarchy. So who gets first, the priorities. Who gets first, who gets second, who gets third. Mishnah. Seide Nachal is Kachu. This is the order. This is the order of how people Yarshin. Ish, it says in the pasuk, Ish Kiyo, a person dies, Uben Einle, if he doesn't have a son. So obviously the first one who inherits someone is their son. Then we're just starting the Mishnah right now. Sorry. Beautiful. So it says that the first person who yashins is the son. It says the pasuk, Ish Kiyamus Benei has no son. If there's no son, the pasuk says, then take it away from the son and give it to the daughter. And we learned before that according to one opinion, Vavartim is someone else who's also very much front and center, is being pushed off. And that is the father. So that's how we know that after the daughter goes the father. But interesting, the Mishnah leaves the father out. The Pashas, like we learned before, we're now talking about biological relatives. The father will be pushed to the end, even though he gets all the way in the front after the children. But okay, Ben Koydon Labas, that's okay, that we already know. But now the next part of the Mishnah is the Chiddush. Kol yoytzei reiche shel ben koydon labas. This is how it works. It goes down, then then back. It goes down, then sideways, and there's nothing there. Then go up a generation. So first is the son. The son, if the son, let's say, passed predeceased his father, you look if he had any children, and so on. And if he had a son and a daughter, the grandchildren, then again the boy goes before the girl. If there's no boy, then it goes to the girl. And if they both passed away, you go further. You go all the way down if there's anything to go down. So kol yoytzei yerechai shel ben comes first. Nothing there, then you move over to the daughter. Labas. Bas, then the daughter. After the daughter goes the father. The Mishnah leaves out because we're talking about biological relatives. Then, but remember, after the father, if he's not around, then it goes to his yoytzei yerechai. That means his children, which are the siblings of the one who passed away. Then goes Achim, but Bas comes before Achim. Then yoytzei yerechai shel bas, if she predeceased her father, then you look at her children, grandchildren. They also come before their uncle, the brother of the deceased. Achin and brother, and when we say achin, it means also that there's no brothers, and we look at the sisters. There's no sisters, then you go up a generation to the zayda of the deceased, and then after the zayda deceased, if he's no longer alive, it goes down to his yoytzei yerechai, which are the brothers of the deceased. And the yoytzei yerechai of the brothers come before the uncles. The brothers of the deceased come before them. If there's nothing there, then it goes to the zayda. Then if not the zayda, then it goes down to his son, which are the brothers of the father of the one who's deceased. That was the uncle who's deceased. That's the rule. Whoever is first in line, his tzatzayim, his descendants, yeah. But then he throws in the father comes before all yoytzei yerechai, except the brother and sister, except the children. No, yoytzei yerechai are the brothers and sisters of the one who's deceased. That's yoytzei yerechai of the father. The children, the grandchildren, are yoytzei yerechai of the one who's deceased. It's interesting the way the format of the Mishnah, they put father in the end of the Mishnah when in fact he's ahead of almost everybody. So the Chaydev what we learned yesterday, because he's not a by beautiful taste we had yesterday that a husband is not a relative of his wife. He is his wife. Sorry? It was 2 days ago. Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting that Lahavdil goes non-Jewish kingdom. You see everything in the kingdom for the queen. It goes to the male
First son.
inheritor, and then to his lineage, to his children, if they're male. And then if they would be missing, you would go back up and across. That's the same type of thing.
That's interesting, yeah. Talk about me learned. Then, so how do you know yoytzei yerechai? Maybe the son of the one who passed away, if he's no longer around, then maybe go back. Because you would think the sister is closer to the person that passed away than a grandchild, because that's like 2 generations. Even though we have a rule, but that's where it stops. It's a machlekes emotional if a great grandchild has a midst of kibbud and all that. How far it goes. But still we need a possible when it comes to the imaminus, that the grandchild gets before the sister. Ben ainly ela ben. Ben a ben a bas a ben. Grandchild doesn't even matter if it's a bas. Or bas a ben. A great grandchild. That's a big chiddush because you can tell me a grandchild ben but a great grandchild, how you know? It says in the pasuk ain loy. It says in the pasuk is that tell them ben ain loy. Now the word ain can be written without a yud. The yud is extra to tell you. It says ain loy ayin olav. You should look further. We use this by imams. We use it a few times. You ayin olav. You should look into it. The yud is extra to teach you. Look further down the track. Okay, there's no Ben, but maybe this Ben had a child. So go further down. Sending him out Bas, the same thing by Bas. Okay, the son, all his children. Then you move up, you go to the daughter. How do you know by the daughter also you go down? Ein the Bas. Bas Abbas, Ben Abbas. Here by Abbas we bring Bas first, but really the din is the Ben takes priority as well. Well, Bas, Ben Abbas, but now how do you know? Tamalaymid Ein Loy. Same thing it says there. Be'im Ein Loy Bas, extra yud. Ayin Olav. Look into it. Go examine. Okay, Tzad, how's it work? Nachla mimashmeshes mevahayleches adru uvein. That a nachla goes all the way down and goes all the way up. If there's no father and there's no siblings, no zayda and no uncles, no elder zayda and no great uncles. You keep on going up and up and up until Reuven. You want to ask a question? Some other zach, why till Reuven? Go to Yaakov. But you might have a ad Yaakov. But by a Gemini, we have a rule to the color shifter. No Shavit will disappear. Why would you go to Yaakov? Because they say there's no Reuven. No Shavit will disappear. And the Rishayim bring in the pasuk Ani Yaakov. It says Ani Yaakov. In other words, so that nobody will disappear. Even though, that's what the Rashbam brings. But in the Gemara later, the Gemara brings a pasuk. Nothing to do with this, but by Binyamin, why the Chachamim, we'll see later, made these takanas to help them out, because it says we cannot have a Shevet disappear. I don't know why the Rashbam and all the other Rishayim bring this pasuk the Gemara doesn't bring, rather than the pasuk the Gemara brings itself, which is clear. That no Shevet should ever disappear. Yeah, which we'll see in the Gemara soon, yeah. Yeah, well. There's 600 men left in the whole Shevet. Okay, let's continue. Says the Gemara, if anybody says Tirush Bas in Bas Haben, if anyone paskins that the daughter, in other words, the sister of the person who died, should be equal to the daughter of the person who died, because the son of the person who died is caught. The son Yash is first, but if there's no son, why you would think in logic, as we'll soon see, as Dukim said, the sister L'chayda is closer to the brother, maybe, than a granddaughter. So it's like this: if you what do you call it? If you have a granddaughter and you have a sister, L'chayda, a person passed away, he left behind a son and a daughter. The son gets first. There's no son. It goes down another generation. What's the next generation? A girl. So you're going to say maybe that girl is 2 steps away from the Zayd who passed away. Then by taking her aunt, which is the daughter of the one who passed away, L'chayda is a step closer. At least they should be equal. If you pass in that way, I feel Nasi should be strong. I don't care who he is. We have some expression, yo. Ain Shaimin, won't listen to him. Ain an Ella Maisis Dukin. This is the verdict for the Dukin. I told you once before. I'll go see in a minute. I just looked up because I remember seeing. We always pronounce it Stukin. That's what pronounce it. I wonder how these these modern all the Gemaras. Yes, it's Dukin. But I looked in Steinzal, it's Dukin. I looked at my what's it called? The other Gemara there. Oizel Hadar. It's Dukin. Who called it Dukin? That's the original person, but nobody calls it. That's fascinating is the Rashbam, because you always thought the way we always understood. Maybe I was never medayik in the words that Tzaddik and Bais heard from the Rebbe and Tignis that and they said, oh, there's no reward for all the mitzvahs that we do. Just like that doesn't make sense. Nothing that Rabbanan say makes sense. That's how we always learned. The Rashbam says here, it wasn't Tzaddik and Bais at all. Look at Rajbam, because I don't remember seeing anywhere else. That could be I'm wrong. But Rajbam says here, good question. Um, sorry. In Basa Ben. Okay, here. Rajbam in Basa Ben, it's about 10 lines at the bottom of the page. The Rajbam says, Tzaduk, right in the middle of the line, Tzaduk Abaisis, Talmide Antignus Ish Seichahayu. They were students of Antignus. Well, Yeshayim Tamadim, they taught to their students what they learned from their Rebbe. Masha Kiblum Antignus, they learned from the Rebbe in the Pirkei Avos. Altihiu Kavadim Mashamshid, do not be like servants who serve the master in order anticipating a reward. You're doing it not for reward. The Toh HaTalmidim, not Tzaddik Abaisis. It was their students who misunderstood what their Rebbe said. Bekasha Yisvudim, they thought the Hachikam. This is what the Tzaddik Abaisis was saying. Abdul Makim serve Hashem, the Al Tikabas Khan. There's no reward. But Amrun, they said, the students said this. This is what's different than I always thought. Just like this doesn't make sense. Everything they say doesn't make sense. The Torah and the poke fun of the word of Chamim. The Nikrut Slukit Al Shem Tzaddik Abaisis. Al Shem Baitzes Ba'others that have nothing. Sorry, Tzaddik Al Shem Tzaddik Abaisis Shem Baitzes. Interesting. So, and yet why they called Zlukin Abaisis? Because they didn't teach them correctly. They didn't make sure that the students understood it correctly, so the teachers are at fault, even though they did not say anything wrong. In fact, it sounded like they said verbatim what Antignus said. But Antignus, when he said Tzaddik Abaisis to Talmid Chamim, who understood exactly what he was saying, Tzaddik Abaisis should have understood that his Talmidim were not on the same level as they were when they learned from the Rebbe. They should have explained it a bit more what they meant. And because they didn't, they were held responsible. I never saw this before, I have to say. So that could be this is always the shot and I just misunderstood, or I don't remember seeing it. Okay, I'm sure you're going to find somewhere else what it says. Okay. Anyway, something about it further. So anybody says that is a follower of Tzdukim. The Tanya we learned. We had this thing about Tainis, similar to above Esim Tavis, Chav Dalet Tavis. There's one opinion that the Rambam actually passed away Chav Dalet Tavis, even though we say it's Chav Tavis, but Dalet Rebbe. Pastor Chav Dal Tavis, it was a yomtiv. Tivna Ladinon, we finally got our justice back. So it's Dukin Ayman. Dukin went around saying, Tira Shabbasim Basa Ben. They said that the daughter of the person who was deceased and the granddaughter on the son's side are equal. Tira Shabbas im Basa Ben. They should get together. Now, this Lashon that we have right now is the exact same Lashon we had in Gemara Menachos, which we'll have in Gemara Menachos, about Sfiras Oimer. The Machas Shabbos, exactly the same thing. Nitful lehem Yechazaki. Yechazaki attached himself to them. Amalem shaitim, and Yechazaki was very rude to them. He said, "Idiots, menayin zelechem. What do you make up stories for?" And this is word for word in one of them. Nobody can divorce them. They just said things that had no basis. Chutz mezaken echad. Who is the Zaki? Because it's the exact same Zaken who argued by thing. But what the difference is, and I want to give a whole pubble on this, and I can't remember more exactly. Over there was the Baisusim, and here's the Dukim. And you go through Shas, you'll see that sometimes, many times, it's Dukim who argue, and sometimes it's the Baisusim. And I was wondering, what being picky. That means the Baisusim are not exactly the same, even though we put them together. The Dukim had what issue? And the Baisusim had a whole different issue. and that's why in certain Machlekes it's Dukim who argue, and certain Machlekes it's the Baisusim who argue, but not for right now. He argued with him. Okay, there it goes on. There, in fact, it starts off Moshe Rabbeinu Oiv Yisrael. That's what Moshe Rabchem, he says there. That means that they didn't even believe in Moshe Rabbeinu. He said Moshe Rabchem Oiv Yisrael because he gave you a Saturday and a Sunday, a long weekend. He was a good guy. But here it can't be the same thing because this is by Susim is looking. He says, I have a Kalachayman. The Bas Benoy. She's a second generation. She's 2 steps away. The daughter is only 1 step away. She's the daughter of the person who died. Like Koshkin, surely that she should be equal. Kara Olos Amigas, as he brought it from the following pasuk. Rabbi Yechon responded. It says in the pasuk, Eila b'nei Seir ha'chayri. These are the children of Seir. These are the children of Seir, Yoshvei Aretz, who dwell on the land. And we're going to stress that dwell on the land means these are the people who inherited the land. We're talking about heirs. Yoshvei Aretz. Who were they? Who were his children? Leighton and Shavel and Tzivon and the Anna and Anna. Now remember, Tziv and Anna were clearly brothers here. Then it says another pasuk. It says, "Eile b'nei Tziv," these are the children of Tziv. And it says, who were they? Aya and Anna. A minute ago, he said Anna was a child of Seir, and Naitam he's a child of and he's a brother, and Naitam is a child of Tzivon. Elam Alam comes to teach you. Shabbat Tzivon Alimai. Tzivon had relations with his mother. V'hoylid Anna. So Anna was his brother, was a brother of Tzivon, but also a son of Tzivon. And yet it says he was a son of Seir. Now Seir was not a son of Seir at all. He was a son of Tzivon. Seir was a Zayda. But what does it show? It shows that a grandchild is just like a child, because it's B'nai Seir. So that's how we know that the person, the grandson of Yarshin, is not 2 steps away. He is considered a son. He is right there. So that's why they get before the sister. Don't tell me the sister of the the other child is closer. No closer. You see the grandchild through the son just as close. Traces, by the way, I won't go to Holaricha, but Traces said that Anna was a woman, actually, and has a whole different way of learning. But anyway, and then Anna himself did the same with his mother, or her mother. But if Anna did with his mother, then it had to be a male. But Traces was a woman. So the Suzuki said back, maybe 2 Anna. What's the question? Because Anna was a son. You never heard of an uncle and a nephew having the same name? Rabba says, Rabba, Amina Milsa, I'll tell you something. The Omra Shabar Malka. That Shabar Malka did not say. Umani, who was that? Shmuel. Now, Shmuel is called Shabar Malka. We already had this Gemara in the end of Bava Kama. Shabar Malka, and there Rashi brings, there's a few shots whether Shabar Malka is an Amoida or Shabar Malka is Taka. A king who was very interested in learning and halacha. They were talking to him. But here we're saying that we're calling the Shmuel like Shabar Malka. He's Amma Malka Akoturi. He was strong. He was very decisive. And the halacha is over like Shmuel when it comes to dinim. Just like we said, Nachman was very strong, and Shmuel was very, when it comes to dinim, Rab when it comes to Isser, and Shmuel when it comes to dinim. Rabba is called. Now, if you remember, we spoke about recently that a machlek is a shining of the halacha is like Rabba always only Masechta Bava Basra, except the 3 places because all 3 are in Bava Basra, or in Kol Kula, Rabba versus Rabbi Yosef, it's always Rabba. And Tesa said that, we don't even know if we can trust Rabbi Yosef's answers because he forgot his learning. Maybe he's misquoting things. Sad. So it sounds like from Tesa, by the way, that's why we don't pass on Rabbi Yosef, because we never really know 100% if this is how it is, or he just, when he said it, and did he really remember? That's what Tesa said. He's Akra. He's Akra the Talmud. He forgot his learning. He did yesterday. So he says here, the Tesa Hichos Kabbalah Rabbi Yosef. Says here, Umanoi Rabba. This is what it says. It says in the pasuk when it says about Anna, introduces Anna, the son of Tzivia. It says in the pasuk, this is the Anna Shematzis Hayem Midbar. He found the animals in the Midbar. Who? I mean, who this? Must be the same Anna that we spoke about, the son of Seir. The Mikara Amalei. So the Zelkin said to Rabbi Yechon, he wasn't the third. Bekachata Patrani. That's it. That's your whole raya. You're sending me away. You're slugging me up. That's it. All it says here is that a grandson like a son. But where does it say that he's ahead of the daughter? Maybe they're both Yash, which is what we're saying. And have a Kabbalah. Amalei said Shait. Again, I mean, Rabbi Yechon had no patience with them, yet he argued with them. The Loi Tehei. Interesting when the Gemara says, we'll see. The Gemara says that when Rabbi Shua passed away, he knew how to answer all of the Gemara doesn't bring Rabbi Yechon. It's always Rabbi Yechon ben Zakkai who's arguing with the student. It's always him.
Maybe that's why exactly.
What do you mean?
You can't just ignore them. Otherwise, they'll.
I'll tell you another Rashbam in a second. So he says, our complete Torah shouldn't compare. You guys are talking nonsense. Gabadiguk, and our Torah is whole from the Eibishter. Why? It's a poshut. Every kabbalah you can slug up. You know why the granddaughter takes precedence over the daughter? She can yufa koicha, her koich is so strong with makam achin. Let's say forget the daughter. What happens if they were brothers to the father? The person who died had brothers. Okay, the son, there's no son anymore. He has a granddaughter. And our brothers, who gets first? The girl. So if the girl is stronger than the brother, but the daughter, when she has brothers, doesn't take any precedence. So therefore, in other words, more than that, The guy died. He left behind three sons. Three sons. One son died, left behind a daughter. Do we say, the two sons there, we'll take the whole Yerusha and divide it into two sons? We don't say that. What do we say? It's divided three, like by Pinchas and Tzloi Slavchad. We say that Bnei Slavchad got Chayfet had a few sons, but Bnei Slavchad took Slavchad's place. We don't say, since there are other brothers around, and there's a granddaughter from one of the sons, and the son is no longer around, take it away from the granddaughters. Let's divide it amongst the brothers. We don't say that. What do we see? That a granddaughter is equal to a son, and a son is the head of a sister. So surely the granddaughter is ahead of the sister. That's how he slugs the Kalachim. Now the question, I'll tell you a second. The Nafshum and they were victorious. Oisa Yom Tov. Chavdal Kislev became a Yom Tov. Chavdal Teidami. Chavdal became a Yom Tov. Because of the story. Yeah, Megillah's tiny. Remember all those different dates? If you look at Shiloh Tzuvim Shemaim, it's unbelievable. It's not just Yutzis Kislev. They always say Yutzis Kislev. And says that you got to. It's the question that was asked on that day. If you look at the fasting, the question was about going to the mikveh for davening. That was the question. It's an amazing thing. And they say, it's a big yom tov. It's not just the date; it's the teichen, the whole thing. Yeah. Without being in the mind. What do you mean? They're in the mikveh. Maybe it means pushing the mind. You think it means by Pasha? It could be. In the context, okay. Very good. We have to look at Ruv Magol is there in his Haaretz and that Shuvah there, because he brings a lot of Haaretz there. And but it's fascinating. No, we do. We say, no, you pass through the cave. Only one case we say you don't. If the mother predeceases the husband, only regarding the husband we say, if the mother died before her parents, then the Yerusha doesn't go to the mother and sideways to the husband. But to the children, it does. It goes down. The children do Yashin. Now, they made a Yom Tov. Now, the obvious question is, why didn't he answer it in the first place? What's he giving them a whole mice of the Ano, which he himself knew wasn't an answer? Look at the Rashbam here. It's hard to, he doesn't make a mocker, just Rashbam says, top of the page. But what he says here, Umiyu. However, the last word, the top line of Rashbam, why didn't Rabbi Yochanan answer this in the first place? It says here, Miyu, Mikara lahoya chafetz legalus le'taim shadavar. Didn't want to tell them the truth. The osher legalus lem ta'amei toida. You're not allowed to tell them ta'amei toida because they're apocryphal and they'll take whatever you say and distort it. They'll take it and they'll distort it. So when you have an argument with these things, it doesn't matter if you're saying that b'shas ma'isa what you're saying is not true, but if the outcome is true, it's better if you can talk their language. Talk like osir. The osir legalos lem ta'amei toida. It's an amazing thing. Amazing thing. Let's go a little bit further. The Yema, and it says here, of course, it doesn't say about going. The Gemara there. Yeah, exactly. He saved the Eden. Anyhow, by Yema Yerusha's plate will be Yama. They said the leftovers. There's 600 people left over in Yama. They made a rule. They said that we don't want a tribe of the Eden should disappear. So what did? They were scared that if the people of Binyamin are going to marry, there's a lot of people, girls in Binyamin for them to marry. Girls are also killed. Not enough people after. This is the story of Pelegish Begiva, where the terrible thing happened to this concubine that this man brought. He stayed in the town there, and anyway, and this woman was raped and everything else, and then she was killed, and he cut her up into parts, and he sent her all over Israel to see what happened, because Binyamin refused to give out the perpetrators of this crime. So there's a civil war, and they basically wiped out almost the entire Sheva Binyamin. So that means these 600 men were left with the entire chelik of Binyamin. So if they marry, and they have to marry girls or whatever outside, what's going to happen is that Binyamin will have any karka left. Because each one had a massive tract of land. If you had 30,000 people before, now you have 600, each one's going to have 10 times the size of land, whatever it is. They're more than 10 times the size of land. So they made a rule. Then you know what we're going to do? Just temporarily, women are not going to yashin. The Torah says if you have no sons, it goes to the daughter. We're not going to allow that to happen. So the land should be transferred. How can the Chacham do that against Klor in the Torah? Hefke bez and Hefke. That's what they all say. So it says here, they made a rule if there are brothers, if there were no brothers, in other words, a person died, all he had was a daughter that can't go against the Torah. But if the person had two sons, let's say he had three sons, and one of the sons died, and only had a daughter, we're not going to send it down to the granddaughter. We're going to give it to the two sons remaining because we need as much land as possible to remain with Binyamin, and the sons always remain in the Shevuk of the sons. Okay. That's talking about marrying each other, different tribes. But Binyamin was just a temporary to kind of one generation to grow the family of Binyamin. It shouldn't lose everything. And we'll continue we'll continue Mitzvah Yom Tov 9:30. Mitzvah Shabbos, sorry. So you have 9:30, which we'll do two blot then. And this is Agadata now coming up. Beautiful Gemara. Two blot and then Sunday morning two blot. So that freezes up Simchas Torah and Shmini Atzeres. It is Agadata. Some of it. And actually Sunday is more Agadata than you're right. The Agadata really starts up Kufchaf. But this page here has Agadata. And this page I'm going to learn is a Chassidish Gemara, which we'll talk about in Motzei Shabbos. Klor, even though the Meiri changes the whole Gemara around, but we didn't have the Meiri for a few hundred years ago. Okay, have a good Yom Tov, everyone.
Yep, thanks. Have a good Yom Tov.
Okay, good Yom Tov. Bye. One quick word. And so it says, here's my father, I don't know whose word it is, that if you're happy, a year is 355 days. If you're happy the 7 days of Sukkot, you'll be happy a whole year. If you're happy 7 days, well, Yisa Ach Samech. Samech is gematria 348. Just 355 days of the year. If you're happy 7 days, that leaves you 348 days. If you're happy, well, Yisa Ach Samech, the ganze year, you'll be happy. The Ach is a me if we look for other things, for other things. Okay, have a good Yom Tov, everybody.